Thank you so much for being here. I'm your host, Alicia, and today's conversation is one that truly matters. It's really close to my heart. I'm so honored for my bestie, Tiara Neal, to join us. Tiara is the founding executive director of Bexa Equity Alliance. Before this work, she built a successful career as a media executive. She's a University of Miami graduate and the founder of Say Pink production company centered on empowering impactful storytelling. We're talking about her journey, the gaps that she witnessed in healthcare access, and why equity and advocacy and collaboration are essential to saving lives.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tiara. I'm so grateful that you're here. And I just kind of want to start from the beginning. Tell us all a little bit about Tiara before your diagnosis with cancer.
Yes, absolutely. First off, Breasty, it is so great to be with you today. Honestly, you are such a light in my life, and just all that you do to support me, allowing me to support you. It's just such an honor to be on this journey. No pun intended with you. Ooh, where do I start? Let's start with the fact that I was living in Los Angeles, California. I had recently gone through a divorce. My son was about two years old, and I started working at BET. Was working there for a few years, really dove into production. And when I was working at BET, I felt like I had peaked when I got to work on the New Edition story, because that was just, for me, I love New Edition. It's very nostalgic for me and just such a pivotal moment in my career. And I was feeling really good about where I was. And I was like, okay, this chapter can close and I can continuously grow and move on. So I left BET and I started working at TLC and Discovery as a producer. And I was producing all different types of reality shows. 1,000-Pound Sisters, Say Yes to the Dress. The one I know that a lot of people really leaned into, I think, was 90 Day Fiance, those types of shows. And it was a lot. It was I was living my dream, working in production and producing TV shows and being able to entertain the masses at that level. And one day I sat with myself and I said, what's next? And I started praying literally for purpose, a deeper meaning. And when I tell you, be careful what you pray for, because God is always listening. And he's like, okay, I hear you and I see you and I see your heart. And I think you're ready for what's next to come. And after, it had been about 2.5 years I was at TLC Discovery. I ended up moving to Maryland, back from LA, back to Maryland, where I'm from. And when I had moved to Maryland, I was in Maryland for only a week. And I felt what felt like a hard pebble. And it was rock solid. I had no idea what I was feeling. And it was strange because I have no family history. I had, at that time, was extremely ignorant. I didn't know anything about breast cancer. I didn't know what masses even felt like. Again, I was 33 years old, so really no idea what I'm feeling. So at first I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. But I ended up going to the doctor, thank God. And thank God, truly. But the problem is that, when you are young and quote unquote healthy, and have
under 40,
healthy, no family history, you get pushed to the side and dismissed very easily. And for women like myself and people like you and I, we have to fight extra hard to get the care that we deserved. And so I knew in my heart of hearts that something was wrong. And I wasn't willing to accept when they were saying, oh, you're young, you're healthy, you have no family history, let's just take this slow. There is a mass there. You just moved to Maryland from LA, like take your time, no rush. No rush.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward, me being who I am, I move very quickly. I'm an Aries, I'm fiery, I'm spicy, and I just keep everything. The train is always moving. And so I did everything in my power to ensure that I got the first available appointment for the mammogram and the ultrasound, the first appointment for everything. But mind you, because I was so young, they would put me at the bottom of the list as the first avail. So for me, it took about a month or so to get in for a mammogram and an ultrasound. And same thing, the radiologist read the report. They came in and they said, well, we're not really sure what this is. You're in the gray area. So we're going to send you on to see a breast surgeon. And I'm looking like, wait, what? I don't understand. You've been through this process. So, they talk to you like you're supposed to know what they're saying and what the next steps are and why these steps are being taken. I had no idea. I'm like, a breast surgeon, why do I need to see a breast surgeon, And so I started really kind of getting into like, at first I was nervous, but not really thinking anything too deep about it. And then when they decided to send me to a breast surgeon, I started getting scared. And I tried to get the first available appointment with the breast surgeon, and that was another like month and a half to get in with her. And because again, they put me at the bottom of the list, I wasn't high risk. And I went in, I finally go in with her and we're talking. And
before the biopsy, or
this was before the biopsy. So
wanted you to see a breast surgeon before even giving you a biopsy.
correct. So I guess for where my mass was at the time, I had implants, and the mass was sitting in a location in which they were afraid to do a needle biopsy because they thought that maybe they would hit the implant. Well, they didn't explain any of that to me whatsoever. They just literally sent me on to see the breast surgeon. And when I went in with her, she just immediately was like, okay, well, we're going to schedule you for surgery, for a surgical biopsy. And she just started going on and on and on about how I was going to be under for, a couple of hours, and I should probably have the surgery on a Friday so that I have the weekend to heal and I can go back to work on Monday. And I'm looking at her like, girl, what are you talking about? And I just kept asking her all these questions about the surgery. And needless to say, we probably sat there. I forced her to sit there with me for 30 minutes to really break down what that surgery entailed and why I needed to have that surgery, and truly demanded answers, which a lot of women don't have the time or understand that they need to do that so that they understand what's getting ready to happen to their bodies. Fast forward, I ended up having the surgical biopsy, and my doctor called me and told me that I had breast cancer. I was at work and everything just went. It was almost like I turned into a ghost. I couldn't see straight. I started having a panic attack. All I could think about was my son.
Yeah.
Am I going to die? And am I going to lose my hair?
Yeah.
Like if I'm not going to be here, who's going to raise my son? And then that was really what shook me.
Yeah.
When
Mother, that's all that we think about at first is our children, right? And how we're going to be there for them. So
exactly. So as I braced for the fight of my life, I knew that I was going to fight to ensure that I was going to be here to raise my son. And thank God I did. And thank God I, advocated for myself. I would call when they would say, okay, your surgery is scheduled for 2 months from now. I would call every day, like, was there a cancellation? Can I get in sooner? Like I was one of those that I just, I went above and beyond to ensure that I was getting the best care I possibly could. But you start to think about women who don't have the ability or the resources to do that. And that's when I started really like digging deep in my soul and understanding that I was so blessed to be able to advocate for myself and to have the resources that I did, because I ended up having a bilateral mastectomy in April of 2019. I removed both of my breasts. I had an oncologist tell me that I was young and that I was silly to cut my breast off. And that was a hard pill to swallow. But it was the best decision I could have ever made. And, years now that we're years away from there, I have so many women say, thank you for sharing your story and getting that bilateral mastectomy, because I chose to do a bilateral mastectomy just based off of your story. And it's very personal, as you know. Like that decision is extremely personal.
How many years ago was this?
Yeah, so we're going into the 7th year, which is crazy. I cannot
7 years. That's amazing. You passed the big 5 years that everybody wants to pass. So that's amazing that you hit 7 years. So can you tell me, like, when did you realize that this just wasn't just about you anymore? Like, you realized that you wanted to do more and you wanted to take your pain and turn it into purpose. When was that moment for you?
Yes, I knew immediately that I wanted to take the breast cancer journey that I was going on, and I wanted to, like you said, turn my pain into purpose. And I knew that this is when I prayed to God and I asked Him for a deeper meaning, a passion that I could feel good about, and I could be able to serve in a way in which I wasn't doing prior. I knew this was it. And it took me a while to get there mentally. But after lots of prayer, lots of reading the Bible, I knew that I wanted to go and become an advocate for other women of color, and supporting them, before a diagnosis, after a diagnosis, and into survivorship. And literally, while I was like laying on the couch, just couldn't move after my surgery, I got an email from the CEO of Bexa. A friend connected us, and he just wanted to have conversations about, my cancer journey, seeing as though I was only 33 when I was diagnosed. And after several conversations through my healing journey, I decided to join Bexa as a advocate, as an advisor. And that began like the next chapter of my life. And as terrible as my breast cancer experience was, even looking back, it's so heavy. It's very heavy. And I wouldn't, at this time in my life, it's really crazy to think that I'm grateful for my breast cancer journey.
Yeah,
I know
I feel the same way. It's like, it was definitely hard while we were going through it, but I feel like it's helped us find our purpose, and it also helped us find our tribe. I feel like all of that happened after the diagnosis as well.
exactly. And to your point, what do they say? They're like, it's the absolute worst sorority to be in, but it has the absolute best women in it. That is the absolute truth. I mean, you are like a sister to me. Some other women who have gone down this breast cancer journey, they've truly become, sisters in life that I depend on, that I can love on. And I would have never, not never, who knows, but really don't think that our paths would have crossed. And I can't imagine folks like women like yourself not being in my life, because you are such a light.
Yeah, Yes, and I just love the work that we do together and our partnership with Journey for Two and Bexa. I feel like it just aligns so perfectly because of the work that I do helping women that are either pregnant or, navigating motherhood and battling cancer at the same time. I wanted to find something that I can give them that um early detection, but also without the radiation. So when I found out that Bexa does not have radiation, it was a new technology and you were connected to it and we just hit it off from the beginning. I was like, this is just like a great partnership and I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful to be able to offer that service at my events for the moms and because I don't think a lot of pregnant women know that they can still be able to get this test done while they're pregnant and be at no risk to the baby. And as we know that women are having kids at an older age, after 35, they call us geriatrics now. And I was 37, so I feel like there are more women now in their 30s and 40s that are having babies as opposed to like their 20s. So that's why I think there are more women now that have been diagnosed either while pregnant or after postpartum. And I just feel like there is that gap missing there. That's why I started my journey with Journey for Two, and I realized that that was missing. And I feel like it's so important the work that we do together to be able to help women of all ages and even while they're pregnant. And, both of us are mothers, so we know how we fought so hard to be able to be here for our kids. And some of the moms just don't know their options out there. And then they don't know there's so many misdiagnoses right now while you're pregnant. And even as we're not pregnant, like you said, they kind of brushed it off like it might not be that, or, kind of like with me too, they were like, oh, it just might be the milk coming in because I was actually pregnant at the time. So I feel like the work that we do together it was like a automatic connection,
Yes,
right?
it is like a match made in heaven because I was able to bring this device that's non-invasive, no pain, no radiation. It's portable, safe while pregnant, safe with implants. Um, you can be any age. So Journey for Two and the Bexa Equity Alliance are literally the perfect partnership. We're able to serve the community at a capacity that, other organizations or other resources really couldn't support pregnant women or women who are trying to get pregnant or breastfeeding moms. Breastfeeding moms, they don't really get mammograms either. So um it's really important to have a resource and to be partnered with Journey for Two to be able to reach pregnant women to where they feel like, wow, this is an exam for me. Hearing your story and then being pregnant, you get scared. You're like, well, oh my gosh, this could probably happen to me. I don't like, how am I supposed to know what I'm feeling as your body goes through all of those changes? And, being able to bring Bexa to your events and being able to provide them with this safe exam brings so much peace of mind, not only to the mother, but to the family, the husband, just knowing that my wife has gotten into early detection because she's, went to a Journey for Two event and was able to get a non-invasive, accurate breast exam. That is truly like the work that we do together is just bringing so much awareness and so much peace to so many individuals. And it's really helping to reach the masses in a really intentional way and ensuring that, if something is detected, that you and I both know, because early detection saved our lives and advocating saved our lives. And so our life's work together is to continuously do that for as many women as we can possibly reach.
Exactly. And just hearing our stories and our testimony, you never know who's listening and who might be thinking about getting that breast exam or might need a second opinion, which I think is very important because
I agree.
again, if I would have listened to the first doctor that I spoke with, Journey wouldn't be here today. So I think that it's very important to advocate for yourself, and that's why there are organizations like us that like Journey for Two and Bexa that are also here to advocate for you and support you through your journey. Um, so tell us a little bit about what Bexa has in store. What do you guys have coming up? What events? Where can they find you, and where can they be able to, is this something like they can just pop up at any event to get the services if they're not able to afford it? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm telling you, I'm working tirelessly day in and day out to ensure that I can be in as many cities as I possibly can. My North Star is to get Medicaid and all insurances to cover this. But in the meantime, our next stop is actually this weekend at Super Bowl. We partnered with the NFL Wives Inside the Lines podcast and Ladies Playbook to provide.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be at Super Bowl providing free breast exams to all the attendees of the Inside the Lines podcast event. And then the day after, we'll be in Dallas at the Bow Collective conference with all the Bow women. They're Black women in executive leadership roles, and they are boss women. But the beauty of Bexa is that it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic background looks like. Women who are, at the C-suite level, all the way down to the most under-resourced communities need access to these, because as women of color, we're working day in and day out to climb this ladder, this corporate ladder that, a wellness visit gets pushed to the side. So it's really important to show up in spaces in which all women of color or women are, at, so that they're especially if they're, women who cannot afford to lose any minutes in the day if it's a wellness visit. It's unfortunate because our health is our wealth. We are nothing without our health. You and I both know this.
Yes.
Like if I told myself that I was gonna have to take, 6 months to a year off, I would have laughed at myself. I'd be like, yeah, right. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I never have time.
But speaking about health as well is the balance. We also have to have a balance. And, you and I both, we work so hard and we also have children. So how do you find the balance to kind of with work life and help and save lives at the same time, but also just finding the balance for your family and for you? Like, what do you do for that?
Yes. And sometimes it's tricky for me because I want to be able to give myself to everybody in the exact same amount of time. The energy and time that I want to give my son is the same energy that I want to give to, the community. And I understand that I cannot stretch myself so thin to where I can't show up as my best self. So I'm really intentional with listening to my body and listening to, others and their needs, and being able to kind of spread my time wisely. So whereas I know, if I'm doing a bunch of events at like 1 month, I try to slow down the next month so that I can take care of me, but I can also spend some quality time with my son. If he has a basketball game or a baseball game or something going on at school, I will drop everything to be at that. If it's a championship or if it's a game that he really wants me to be at, it doesn't matter, if I have something else going on, I will drop everything to be there. And see, for if I feel my body or if I'm feeling like tired or stretched too thin, I'm a-okay telling everybody that I need a day. I need a day of rest. I need to go to get a massage. I need to go for a walk. I find that, listen, I'm living in Maryland now, so there's snow on the ground, so it's absolutely terrible and freezing. But more in the spring and summer and fall months, I'm very, very intentional with taking a walk in between, like as a lunch break in between my meetings, because I find that a 15-minute walk can really just completely shift and change your whole day and allow for you to just take a breather, be in
I never
nature.
tried that outside
Yes.
because I do it at the gym, but I think outside. There's something about just being outdoors that just makes you just feel better. So I'm definitely going to start doing that.
It's such a great reset. And I highly suggest, even if you do a 5-minute walk in the morning, a 5-minute walk at night, any time where you're like, oh, I have a few minutes, just go out for a quick walk. And it's a game changer, truly.
If there was a woman listening right now and she's like scared and she feels unheard after a cancer diagnosis, what would you say to her?
I would say to her, you're not alone. You have an entire group of women who are here to support you and pray for you, love on you. We are here for you. It's really important to find your tribe during this journey that you're on, because while your family, your parents, your loved ones, they want to support you, unless you get that diagnosis, unless you're truly been on that journey, it's really hard to relate. So my suggestion is surround yourself with women who have, or individuals who have been down this road, and allow them to love on you and support you, and you are not alone.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Tiara.
Absolutely.
And I love you, and you were actually like our first guest. Thank you for being my first guest.
Absolutely. I'm honored to be your first.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Journi Unfiltered. And thank you to our special guest, Tiara Neal, one of my besties, for coming on today and sharing everything that she shared with us today. So,
well, thank you all for having me. Thank you. I am, as you know, I'm always down for anything and everything that supports Journi for Two. Your organization and your partnership is everything to me, and I love you, and thank you for having me.
If this story touched you, please share it. Your support helps mothers navigate cancer and motherhood. Help support the mission at journeyfor2.org.